everybody, it's Amy Rich here with amyrich.net. I'm excited to share with you another alternate paper pumpkin project from the month of July 2022. And if you've been watching me for a while, you know how much I love fun fold cards. And so I make it a point that usually 10 or 11 times out of 12 in a year with Paper Pumpkin, I come up with an alternate project that is a fun fold card. And today is no different. And I fell in love with the kits, the kit, the colors, the papers, the accessories, everything in this kit. And I think I designed a fun one for you that is a tweak on a Z-fold card. So come and watch and know that all of the details will be posted in my blog, and you can find that link down here in the description of the video, as well as a link to sign up for Paper Pumpkin with me. When you are a subscriber with me, I invite you to my Paper Pumpkin party every month where we make this alternate project on Zoom. I send you the supplies that are extra from the kit, and then I walk you through it step by step, slowly as you do it with me. So it's a fun Paper Pumpkin party, and if you'd like to subscribe with me, you can do so using that link in the video description. So let's get started so you can see what we made this month. We have a super fun card in store today, and these are the only supplies that I provided to my Paper Pumpkin party attendees. Just a couple pieces of basic gray, basic white, and then some of our butterfly designer series paper, which I have a few of the pieces here so that you can see some of the pretty colors in this DSP. And here are the back sides. Super fun paper that I have enjoyed playing with tremendously, but it had the fresh freesia side, and that's what I really wanted here. So I'm going to move those aside and bring in what Paper Pumpkin was meant to be for this month. And then I'm going to grab some of the supplies that we are going to take from the kit to create this card. And I've got one of each of the birds. I am using the seahorse, the piece of coral, the piece of fresh freesia wavy paper, and the fresh freesia card base, which I love because it's white on the inside, and I'm going to show you why that's so much fun this time. And then just the sentiment, wishing you all the best from the stamp set that comes in the kit. Now, you could use the Bermuda base stamp, Stampin' Spot for this sentiment, but I have chosen to go a little softer. So I'll be using the basic gray. And let's take care of that right away. I don't think I had the circle out when I first showed all of the supplies from the kit that we'll be using. So I grabbed that circle with the fresh freesia ring around it. And now grabbing my basic gray ink, I'm going to stamp my sentiment in the middle of that circle and set that aside. I'm going to bring in my trimmer because we have a few things to take care of here before we start assembling. So I'm going to take my fresh freesia card base and put it in with the long side at the top of my trimmer and put it in at 2 1/8 inches and give that a nice score. And then I am going to take the wavy fresh freesia piece, and be careful when you take these apart. We found in our Paper Pumpkin party that some of them can stick together. So make sure you only have one when you're doing this so you don't ruin any other parts of your kit. This is going to go in at 1 7/8 2 times. So we'll have 2 pieces in the end that are 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. This is just a scrap. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to take this basic gray piece and we're going to put it in, and I know this is kind of a weird measurement, but I found that 1 1/4 isn't quite right. It has to be a little bit further. So 1 and 1 2 3/16, okay? Don't grumble it's serious business. So 1 3/16 is about where we're going to trim that off. So we want those points both at about 1 3/16, and then we'll cut off that little triangle and discard that. I think we are ready now to assemble this card. So this is our card base. We're going to fold it in half so that the color is on the inside. And then we're going to fold the other score line back so that we reveal the cover. Is that a word? Reveal. And then I'm going to flip this to the back. And what I love is that it's already white. And we are going to use this backing then as a place where we can write our thoughts to our card's recipient. Because we are going to fill up all of this so there's nowhere to write. So this will be where you can write your sentiment right on the back here. So I'm going to take this strip of DSP that is cut 1/2 inch by 5.5 inches, and we're just going to adhere that as a decorative strip down the side of the back of the card. And I want to thank Frenchie Martin for some tips on how to put this together. I did get pretty creative with it, but she gave some really good tips, so I wanted to give her some credit. And then I'm going to add my 1 7/8 by 5 1/4, and then I'm going to open that up and put the other one over here as well. Then actually I do need my trimmer again, so I'm going to bring that back in. I have 2 2-inch squares of Designer Series paper. Now you can cut this a little bit bigger, and in my blog post you will see another idea of size on these. I wanted to save a little bit of paper, so I cut these down to 2-inch squares. I have 2 of them. I'm putting them in on the diagonal together and cutting them in half to create 4 triangles. I'm going to then grab my silicone crafting sheet, because when you're doing triangles, it's nice to be able to go off the edge and get all the way up to the tips there. So I'm going to add this up in the corner with a little bit of a border. So pretend it's about the same border as on this other side. And then we're going to get that same border here and here. And we'll do that all the way around. And leave that same border, and then what should happen is they should meet about in the middle, both on top and bottom. And there we've framed out a nice little section here. Now bringing in a piece of basic white that is 1 by 4 and then scored at 1, 2, and 3 inches. And then we're going to fold that down. We're going to create a mechanism. Last month, the June Paper Pumpkin Kit, I did create a pop-up card using a similar mechanism, but I had an extra 1/2 inch or so that I overlapped here. But this is another tip from Frenchie, that she said then it's not so bulky if you don't have that overlap. So I'll show you how this works. And I'm going to add my adhesive just to that first 1-inch circle or square and then pop that down right next to my score line in the center of my card. And if you use liquid glue, it's kind of forgiving then. You can do a little bit of shifting if you need to. And then we'll go back, and this first section next to the score line, now that gets the adhesive, and then we're going to fold the front over the top and then open that up, and now we've got our pop-up mechanism. Pretty slick. Then we're going to take our basic gray square that we cut the corner off, and that cut corner is going to go right up on our mechanism. And then as we close this, I'm just going to test it to see if I cut off enough. And it did. It's just perfect. So now I'm going to add my glue here. And again, liquid glue is probably preferable, because then as you put your square in there, you can get it so that it's centered and that the point goes right up to the edge of the card. So this should work really well so that when you open it, you've got that cute little pop-up. Oh. Now we're going to take the coral. The coral you can put right on your pop-up square right here. Now, originally I had it this way and we had to trim some off. Shetty at my paper pumpkin party was like, why don't you turn it the other way? Then you don't have to cut any off. And I thought, you are a genius. Sometimes things are so simple that our little brains can't think of it. So thank you, Shetty, for helping me see the error of my ways. So we're going to put that coral on vertically instead, and it fits so beautifully right there that I told her, I'm using your idea. That's fabulous. All right, so now our pop-up does this, and it's okay if it hangs off the sides. That works just great. Now we're going to add our little seahorse. There are some Stampin' Dimensionals in your kit, but I suggest perhaps the mini dimensionals would work well for this. So I'm just going to put a couple of mini dimensionals, and then I'm going to add, and maybe, did it come with mini dimensionals? I got it mixed up, so I'm not sure what was in there and what wasn't. So now I've just got this little strip that I cut off that we're going to add to the tail area, just so that we have a little more support behind our seahorse. And I want to put the seahorse way to the left. I don't want too much of him sticking out. Uh-oh. I'm going to have to re-glue that. So I'm going to put him way to the left here. And then I am going to re-glue this section. I think I talked too long, so that when I glued it on, it was dry already, or partially dry. So let's try that again. All right, there we go. So we've got that cute little seahorse in there, and then we're going to take our circle, and it's going, you'll want to flatten your card, and your circle is going to go over here to the right hand side up to the edge of your card. But keep in mind, you only want it adhered to this area of the card, the pop-up part, and you're going to want that to pull up with. So make sure not to glue it down so that it doesn't pop up. So I'm going to flip this, and I'm going to put a dimensional at top, bottom, left, and then right, but not quite all the way. And I flipped it so that I flipped it just up and down instead of side to side, just so you know where I'm putting those, so that there's no adhesive here or here. All right, so now we'll add this to our card. And look at that. That is so dang adorable. All right, the next part are our two basic gray squares that measure 1 7/8 inch square. And we're going to put those on the diagonal and only put adhesive on this left-hand side. So when I do that now, we're going to adhere it so that the points line up with the fold in our Z fold. And notice I didn't push really hard on it yet until I know I've got them where I want them. So this is about right. You want those points to just about meet in the center, if not meet. All right, so now I can really adhere those down. So cute. And then I'm going to adhere the 1 3/4 inch white, basic white squares that I added from my cardstock to these great pieces from the kit. And then we'll take the birds. Yay! We're going to take that large bird and add dimensionals on the back. And then that bird is going to sit right down here on this square. And then we'll add the one with the curled up wings. I'm going to add that one flat. And that will go right up here like this. And then we'll take this one and we'll pop that one up as well. So again, some mini dimensionals come in handy. Just get them squeezed in there. And then if you want to, maybe a skinny little one, I like to just cut the edge off because there seems to be a larger edge on those mini dimensionals. So it's really easy to get that little strip. And then we'll make sure to have all the backings off. They won't work if you don't have the backing off. I did discover that recently. And then I'm going to add this one, flying overhead, and look how cute. Look at how cute that is. So excited to share this with you today. Thank you for watching. And like I said, you can find details right there in the description of the video. Have a great time experimenting with your paper pumpkin kits, and I will see you back here next month.